Hello and welcome to National Focus. I am Julian Morris. The headlines. Parliament approves supplementary estimates of just over $235,717,000. Prime Minister Skerritt's looking forward to modernizing Dominica's electoral process, and Friday designated as a day of mourning as cricket icon Irving Shillingford is laid to rest. Details of the headline stories and more when we return.
I love the freedom when I'm out there. Simply put, the worries from shore, none of that out there. And it's my daily bread. I learned it from my dad. My dad is one of the senior guys here who catch the biggest fish around here. And he's top with the red snappers. It's a family thing. I'm the only one fishing right now in the family. Just keeping it going. I enjoy bringing them up, man. Sometimes you have a yellowfin tuna, 400 pounds. Man, let me tell you, that's just a joy out there. I enjoy going out there and just holding the big fish. I don't lift weights, I lift fish. The morning of my fishing trip, I would get up, make a little spiced tea. Then I come down here. I have my GPS, which most fishermen are supposed to have that. Normally I prepare the day before, because whenever you're going out there, you must have ice. Ice is a must for preservation of the fish. So I always make sure I have everything the day before. My fish represents me, and I bring good quality fish ashore simply because the restaurants themselves, they have to show a quality product. Tourism and agriculture go hand in hand. That's what I think. We're all connected. It's like a big machine, and I'm just so proud to be a part of it. My name is Brandon Carlisle, and tourism is my business.
Welcome back. Parliament has approved the supplementary estimates for the period July 2021 to June 2022 in the amount of $235,717,376.20. The motion was brought before the House by the Minister for Finance, Economic Development, Climate Resilience and Social Security, the Honourable Dr. Irving McIntyre, when the first meeting of the first session of the 11th Parliament convened on Tuesday. The supplementary estimate is in respect of advances made from the Contingencies Fund for the fiscal year. These funds were utilized in various government ministries.
An advance was made to the Office of the President in the amount of $48,997. This amount was used to meet unforeseen operations and maintenance expenses to facilitate the smooth operations of the Office of the Official Resident of the President to effectively serve the public. Integrity in Public Office. The Integrity in Public Office received an amount of $141,611 for the payment of legal obligations in respect of an unforeseen judicial review matter.
An amount of $181,080 was also approved under legislation for improvements to the House of Assembly.
Of this amount, $75,080 was used to purchase and install a digital conference audio system, while $106,000 was used to undertake much needed infrastructure repairs to ensure the safety and well-being of staff and members.
Over $9 million was allocated to the Ministry of National Security and Home Affairs, of which over $6 million assisted in maintaining a larger workforce to facilitate a smooth transition to the e-passport. Government has also made significant strides in agriculture, education, tourism, sports, youth development, and other sectors. Dr. McIntyre says this government will continue to implement the necessary measures to stabilize the country's finances whilst building fiscal resilience and provide relief for the people.
This fact is clearly visible in the reduced number of off-budget expenditure for the fiscal year 2021-2022, as well as greater targeting of expenditure to the productive sectors and the vulnerable. Mr. Speaker, based on the feedback received from the many of our international partners, This government is heading in the right direction.
The supplementary estimates of expenditure was unanimously approved by the House of Assembly. Following the passage of Hurricane Maria in 2017 and Tropical Storm Erica in 2015, farmers across the island suffered tremendous loss of 100% in root crops and up to 90% of tree crops, accumulating to over $570 million in damage. Octavia Prosper has more.
Minister for Agriculture, Fisheries and the Blue and Green Economy, Honorable Roland Rie, says government made the revitalization of the agricultural sector its mandate and has done so successfully. He says over $300,000 has been spent to assist with the boosting of Dominica's ecosystem.
In terms of leveraging ecotourism for biodiversity, Mr. Speaker, $369,862 and 20 cents was spent before the approval of the project for the preparation of project manuals and documentation required for implementation. The overall goal of the project is to coordinate and improve government's intersectoral approach towards more effective planning and management of protected areas such as Mount Wapito, Cabrids, and Mount Blute National Parks, and the Kanagu Territory and Forest Ecosystem. Also, the assessment, design, and scope for the rehabilitation of the Waitikul National Trade were also undertaken under this project.
Minister Rui says 3,000 farmers benefited from the National Food Security Program, where an additional $5 million was spent.
As it relates to enhancing agricultural resilience and national food security, under this project, Mr. Speaker, the ministry spent $5 million to complete support to 3,500 crop farmers for restoring their agricultural establishment through the provision of tools and equipment. Mr. Speaker, these tools and equipment and materials were provided to the farmers to ensure that they bounce back quickly from the ravages of Hurricane Maria, whilst enhancing their productivity on farm.
Minister Rui listed some of the equipment purchased for farmers.
450 water tanks were procured, 300 banana trays, 350 bush cutters, 380 chainsaws, 1,000 cutlasses, 500 grain spades, 40 irrigation kits, 1,200 sets of protective gears, 500 jack spades, 850 knapsack sprayers, 100 mist blowers, 45 pole pruners, 25 power tillers, 20 rotovators, 60 water pumps, and Mr. Speaker, the list goes on, including wires for the protected farmers.
Minister Rui made the announcement that approval has been granted for additional material for farmers.
It must be noted that under this program as well, approval has been granted for the implementation of the productive alliance model that links farmers to market, while additional resources for the provision of building materials to support the restoration of livestock farmers are being pursued. So some of the support that the livestock farmers will benefit from under this program will include the construction of pens, the supply of superior breeding stock, and the subsidization of animal feed, Mr. Speaker. Additionally, materials required to facilitate training for the construction of 53 resilient fiber reinforced plastic boats by 5 boat builders have been procured.
$11 million is also being spent in the Portsmouth constituency with the rehabilitation of the greenhouse and the construction of a tissue culture lab.
Thus far, they have rehabilitated the climate-smart greenhouse with the capacity to harden 500,000 seedlings per annum. This smart greenhouse will be supported, Mr. Speaker, by a new tissue culture lab, which is now being constructed at a cost of $11 million.
The agricultural ministers spoke in detail of the benefits to be derived from these investments.
The complex, which will include the tissue culture lab, training center for technology transfer, and extension services, and training of youth and schools in advanced agricultural techniques. Reflected in this supplementary estimate will bring the following benefits to the sectors. 1, new plantlets can be grown in a shorter period. Only a smaller portion of the initial tissue plant is required. New plantlets and plants are highly likely to be free from pests and diseases. The process is not dependent on season and can be done year-round. Plants that are difficult to propagate can be done easily using this means. As well, locals will be trained in this new technique and will be gainfully employed. And revenue can be generated by supplying the region with specific varieties based on request.
Octavia Prosper for the Government Information Service.
Prime Minister of Dominica, Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, has once again reiterated government's position on electoral modernization. Curvia John reports.
Speaking at the first sitting of the first session of the 11th Parliament, Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit stated that the process of electoral modernization, aided by Sir Dennis Byron, has been progressing smoothly. He noted that as of December 2022, Sir Dennis has presented his first draft report. The Prime Minister has since met Sir Dennis 3 times to discuss the recommendations made in the draft report. The Prime Minister explained that drafting of legislation was not included in the agreement with Sir Dennis Byron. However, based on the advice of Sir Dennis and the Chairman of the Electoral Commission, government has contracted a legal drafts expert to assist in the drafting of legislation for electoral modernization.
In the terms of references of the engagement of Sir Dennis Byron, the drafting of legislation was not part of it. At the request of Sir Dennis Byron and the Chairman of the Electoral Commission, I authorized the engagement of a legal drafts expert to draft all of the legislation to form part of the submission on electoral reform. And as Minister of Finance, I provided all of the resources to pay for the legal consultant to draft those legislation. I have said to Sir Dennis Byron, and I will say to the Parliament of Dominica, to Dominica, that this matter is the matter that I wish to put to rest once and for all in our country.
The Prime Minister went on to state that he hopes to bring legislation for electoral modernization before Parliament by April of 2023 so that government can begin the implementation of this legislation.
I wish to come to the Parliament to seek parliamentary approval of the new legislation by April of this year so that the process of implementation can begin immediately thereafter. And so I'm hoping that this meeting this afternoon, Mr. Dennis Byron, will be the final one, and that we will receive the final report from Sir Dennis Byron the soonest, so that there can be consultation with stakeholders. Because consultation with any politician or any group of politicians is not the final point of consultation. The people of Dominica must be consulted on this very important matter of their right to be given, the right to vote in Dominica, if they so choose to register and to vote in Dominica's election.
Prime Minister Skerrit says government has ensured that there has been full transparency during the entire electoral modernization process.
I want to make it very clear, Mr. Speaker, that we shall continue to engage in this matter of electoral reform the highest sense of transparency. The highest sense of transparency. We have absolutely nothing to hide or to be afraid of in this process. Because the records will show that this is the only political party in our country's history that has taken the responsible approach of engaging with the modernization of our electoral processes in Dominica.
The Prime Minister re-emphasized that there has always been free and fair elections in Dominica at all time periods.
But I will say this also, that every election that we've had in Dominica prior to and post our independence were all free and fair. And everyone accepted those results. But there has been a culture in our country to give the impression to the international community that our elections are not free and fair. We're all here today, Mr. Speaker, because a process under the Constitution and appropriate laws of Dominica will recognize, and people demonstrated their franchise and the constitutional right to vote in our elections. This is why we have 21 elected members of parliament sitting with us. And this is why we have 9 nominated persons, senators, sitting in the parliament today.
Kuvia John for the Government Information Service.
President of Dominica, His Excellency Charles Savre, has called on new parliamentarians to take their duties to Parliament seriously. Kuvia John has more.
During his address to Parliament on Tuesday, February 7, 2023, President Charles Savre congratulated all the elected representatives and the selected senators on both sides of the House. He encouraged the members to remain true to the oath that they have taken.
I sincerely wish to commend and congratulate the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, who was sworn in by the President on Tuesday, the 20th day of December 2022, and to say to you, Madam, and to the members of the Parliamentary Opposition, that yours is a most sacred task, and encourage all of you to remain true to the oaths that you have subscribed to this morning, and to be constructive in your contributions to the debates in this House and the general governance of the affairs of the state.
The President called on the new parliamentarians on both sides to proceed with their duties in accordance to the standing orders, which are the rules which govern the affairs of Parliament.
Parliament is the supreme legislative body where matters affecting governance and the affairs of state are deliberated upon and voted into law. Freedom of speech without threat of legal action for slander is one of the most important privileges enjoyed by members of Parliament. However, the right to speak is governed by the standing orders of the House. The standing orders are essential to safeguard and maintain order and decorum when debates are taking place. The standing orders provide guidance as to what you can say, how you can say it, when you can say it, and for how long you can speak on each matter.
The new parliamentarians were also reminded to respect the Speaker of the House and his decisions as it relates to the proceedings of the House.
The Speaker of the House presides over the proceedings of the House and is charged with the responsibility of maintaining order in the chamber by ensuring that the rules of the House and established practices are followed and respected. Additionally, the Speaker has the duty to interpret the rules and give guidance as to the practices of the House to ensure that the debate is focused. His rulings on points of order raised by members is final. So while the Speaker of the House is charged with maintaining the dignity and decorum of the House, each of you must take responsibility for your behavior and to make your contributions in an appropriate manner.
President Savre told the Fresh Faces that their goal should be to become effective members of Parliament.
I therefore make a special appeal to you to have due regard to the rulings and admonitions of the Speaker and to familiarize yourself with the standing orders of the House. I encourage you, whether elected or appointed as a senator, to aim to become an effective member of parliament. This would require you to seek advice, to always prepare for the debate by reading and conducting research, to always have a firm grasp of the issues at hand, and develop good research techniques and organizational skills.
He added that while a challenging job, the opportunity to contribute significantly to the development of the country should be embraced.
It is a daunting task, but the rewards in terms of personal growth, confidence, satisfaction in the attainment of a wealth of knowledge and respect by your peers and constituents are immense.
Kuvia John for the Government Information Service.
You are watching National Focus. More when we return. Welcome back. The government of Dominica has continually invested in the development of resilient infrastructure around the country in a bid to build a resilient and modern country. Kuvia John reports.
During his contribution in support of the supplementary estimates in Parliament on Tuesday, February 7, Minister for Public Works, Public Utilities and the Digital Economy, Honorable Fidel Grant, stated that these investments are proof of government's commitment to building the world's first climate-resilient country. Honorable Grant noted that despite the effects of numerous natural disasters and global challenges, government has continued to invest in the country's infrastructure.
Infrastructure is costing this government quite a lot. And if you permit me, Mr. Speaker, I'll run through some of the estimates that are sitting in the ministry for infrastructure across the country. You have the Hampstead Bridge, Mr. Speaker, $10 million. The Bells retaining wall, $22 million. The Red Gully retaining wall, $10 million. Emsall Bridge. Mr. Speaker, these are just some of the large infrastructure projects that this government has to undertake. So, Mr. Speaker, the opposition leader noted that for 23 years, a lot of things have not happened. And I would just like to remind not just the opposition leader, Mr. Speaker, but the country that in the last 23 years, we have witnessed and gone through a stabilization levy, the 2008-2009 financial crisis, several trough systems, Erica, Maria, COVID-19, Mr. Speaker, and now we are going through the Russia-Ukraine war.
The minister explained that following the trough system which ravaged the eastern part of the island last year, government has spent approximately $4 million in the recovery process of that area.
Just last November, we witnessed damage to the east, Mr. Speaker. And what this government is doing is preparing the country so that we can fight and respond as quickly as possible to these natural disasters. So, Mr. Speaker, we have recently installed hydromet systems around the country, and we were fortunate to have one in the east. And just so that the public understand, Mr. Speaker, in 17 hours, just over the east, we had 24 inches of rain. Now you can imagine as we have witnessed the damage. Cleaning up of the east, Mr. Speaker, that is running this government at an estimated $4 million, and those are estimates that we have, Mr. Speaker. So climate change is real, Mr. Speaker, but what the Dominica people can be assured of, Mr. Speaker, that this government and this Labour Party remains committed to them.
Honourable Grant then pledged his full support to the appropriation of the supplementary estimates.
This government has been wise. We have been creative, we have been innovative in the measures to keep this economy afloat and turning. But Mr. Speaker, in all what we do, we ensure that the livelihoods of Dominicans remain intact. So Mr. Speaker, with these few words, Mr. Speaker, I give my full support to the supplementary appropriation.
Kuvia John for the Government Information Service.
The official funeral for the late Irving Theodore Shillingford, former West Indies cricketer, will be held on Friday, February 10, 2023. The government of Dominica has accorded the late cricketer an official funeral in recognition of his sporting accomplishments, exceptional contribution to the development and promotion of cricket in Dominica, and his years of service as a national selector.
The official funeral is an expression of the high honor and esteem in which the late Irving Shillingford is held by the government and people of Dominica.
He also played 88 first-class games, 49 for the Combined Islands, and was part of the Windward Islands cricket team. After his professional cricket career ended, Shillingford was manager and coach of the West Indies under-19 team and selector and coach of the Windward Islands team. A stand at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium in Roseau is named in his honor.
There's an existing policy which only accords official funeral to former members of parliament. And so the government is making a derogation here in respect to Irving Shillingford.
The funeral for the late Irving Theodore Shillingford will be held at the St. Gerald's Hall commencing at 3 p.m, followed by interment at the Roseau Catholic Cemetery. The government of Dominica expresses deepest sympathy to the family and friends of the late Mr. Irving Theodore Shillingford. Friday, 10th February 2023 has been declared a national day of mourning. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. Be sure to follow GIS Dominica on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitter. You can also drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm. From all of us here on the GIS News Production team, I am Julian Morris. Thanks for watching.